Hello. This week we've been looking at Ephesians 4, a passage where we see a bit of a shift in the book of Ephesians from the first 3 chapters where Paul has outlined God's amazing plan in Christ, shifting now to offer us practical instruction on how we should walk, how we should live. In this first video, I'm going to concentrate on verses 1 to 6, in which Paul tells us how we should be in order to walk worthy of the calling we've received. I wanted to think about the first 6 verses where we're given instructions on how to live worthy of our calling, but also what that says about unity of the body of the church. So the things that Paul tells us, he tells us we need to be completely humble, gentle, we need to be patient, bearing with one another in love, and also that we are to make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. So first of all, we have this call to humility or lowliness, and I suppose that at the time that was written, the word used originally, it wouldn't have been something that would have suggested to the people at the time, of something to be approved, or even a quality to be admired, and that might be similar in our culture today, that humility might not be seen as a strength. And I suppose we have the best role model in regard to humility. Jesus, we are told in Philippians that he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Like, when the time came, he didn't think of himself, he thought of you. And in terms of humility, Rick Warren has a quote that's quite well known, which says, like, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. Are there times when we jump to considering our own needs? Do we need to take a moment to think about others before ourselves? When would this be most likely to happen for you? Maybe there are specific situations. Is there anything you can do to help yourself be more humble in the moment? Maybe taking a second before answering. Maybe praying before responding to something. Do you need to search for that intrinsic God-given worth of the other before you act? Whatever it is, we are called to be humble, and therefore it's a worthwhile pursuit. Next, we get to gentleness or meekness, and I think sometimes gentleness can be misunderstood. This is not a call to be a doormat or a complete walkover. Gentleness or meekness is not the same as weakness. The original Greek word was used of domesticated animals, and perhaps that can help you see something of gentleness being representative of strength under control, and that meekness is a characteristic of strong people, strong characters, not weak ones. Another consideration that we're given is patience, or the original word, and, like, forgive my pronunciation, is macrothymia, and this is the way it's sometimes translated as patience, endurance, steadfastness, perseverance, forbearance, long suffering, and this gives us a picture of times where we might be in situations where we're going to have to actively work at demonstrating patience with other people who may be have aggravated us in some way. And it's not just a wishy-washy nice characteristic. It needs action. It could be challenging. Like, long suffering suggests just that. So where is your patience most tested? In what ways could you persevere in demonstrating patience to others? Would it help to think about how God is patient with you before you think about how we need to be, you need to be patient with others. We need to be patient with others. And finally, we have love, agape. And perhaps that's the sum of all the things that have previously been discussed in the passage. Patience, gentleness, being completely humble. They do sound like love in action. I suppose what have all those things got to do with unity? We're also told in Ephesians to maintain or to keep unity, that we already have unity by one Spirit, but we are to work at maintaining that unity. And if we practice the things outlined previously, we'll be putting others' interests ahead of our own. We'll be interested in the outcome of others. We'll be building each other up. We will maintain unity instead of seeking our own interests, which has the potential to divide. The fact that Paul asks us to consider these things, and the fact that he's using language like urge and make every effort, suggests that not only did Paul realise we would need to use these characteristics, but that it would also be a challenge, something that might be difficult to accomplish. And the things we've discussed, like humility, gentleness, patience, bearing with one another in love, these are things that might take practice. So why not make an effort to start practicing them more today?